privileged to have been able to coordinate international programs for the IFS, especially the IFS Fostering Social Justice program. I believe they allow us to develop stronger partnerships because we have the time to really get to understand each other in these programs, and also the means to travel, to see each other's cultures, to understand each other's ways of working, which we don't always manage to do if we are far away from each other. And I think that if we didn't have these programs, we could actually become isolated and maybe even miss out on some innovations that our partners have developed. We have identified quite a few different categories of impact that happen with international exchange programs. And the first one is on participants, of course, those who do go on these programs. We've seen that they learn new skills, whether that's formal or informal. They also take a step back to reflect by going away and checking out new practices. And of course, they discover new contexts and new cultures. Then we have impact on the participating organizations that send these participants. And that is discovering new tools and methodologies for their work, getting some training perhaps on some issues, and also having some new ideas for organizations. Then there is an impact on the local networks of our organizations, let's say a local network in a city. We believe that that network can help disseminate the new knowledge and the skills that the organizations have learned, and also create new local cooperations between the organizations that went on the mobility activity. There is then an impact at the regional level, and we would say that it's about new experimental actions and projects that they can put in place when they've thought together about where that could take them. And finally, the impact at a national level is really important. We have a lot of national organizations and networks learning from each other. We really believe that could lead to more cooperation and a better work on influencing policies and international institutions. So whether it's local or national influencing, it has to start with people and their stories. We think that our network has to show the influencers or the people with power what really is happening in our network, why we do it, and how we do it. We have to be practical. We actually did a theory of change as a network through the IFSJ program. We have to show convergence of our work with the political parties and institutions that we want to convince to work with us. And then that will create partnerships. When we do work on national and European policies, of course, that in turn can influence local policies for all our organizations in our networks. The first thing I would say is that we have to start with solid programs that have means and resources to really respond to people's needs. Also events like the big Congress in Lille was fantastic for our international network. I also think, secondly, that fun and informal communication can work very well to build these partnerships. We have to have fun and enjoy what we do together. I also see us as little bees that buzz around the network from place to place, and we catch something that we think could be very useful for somebody else, and that way we pollinize each other's networks throughout the world. I'm always reminded of a quote that a British MP said, and it's, "We have more in common than that which divides us." That means focus on what we have in common, not the differences we have. That always works for building a strong community. I think what we have tested with the IFSJ program shows that we should be doing more webinars. People like them, people can hop on from anywhere in the world. We have tested online training and it worked really well as well. So basically giving one of our partners a topic to discuss and get really in-depth about together and learn collaboratively. There are online tools now we can really do that very well with. I also think that when we build an international program, we should try and maybe offer an online component to it rather than always have travel components and on-site training. And finally, the last point is about translation. We should probably offer translation to documents so that everybody can really use them anywhere in the world, and also use translation tools for our meetings. That way they would be a lot more accessible to everybody without having to mobilize volunteer time, usually, that we have to resort to.